Friends and family, it is a midweek hump day edition of Bet. I am Tyler Fulghum. She is Anita Marks, and we're going to be rocking and rolling here for the next 30 minutes. Hi, Anita. Have a jam-packed show, baby. The good word. We're going to talk NFC North Week 1 plays. Brett Okamoto going to join us live to break down a massive, huge UFC 276 card taking place right down the street at T-Mobile Arena. Anita and I, we like to hop on the links and play a little golf, so par 3 picks for the John Deere Classic, and that is just a bit of what we have to offer today. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting is the channel in which you might be watching right now. If so, good for you. Get an A on your homework. If not, go there and subscribe right now, baby, because not only can you watch the show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you can get all kinds of wagering and gambling content from not just Anita and I, but all the pretty faces here at ESPN trying to help you win some money on your bets. All right. Let's get it started by flexing our prolific vocabularies. Anita, you know the drill. I say a statement, give you some type of piece of information, and you just tell me the first word that pops into your head. I'm going to write it down on the screen here for you. First and foremost, let's start with this, all right? The Yankees are now the World Series favorite. They just passed the Dodgers at plus 420. LA now plus 450. What's your good word?
Regression. Whoa! And you might be saying, yeah, man, they're struggling against the Oakland A's. But it spans more than that. Follow me here. So the middle of this Yankees lineup, no bueno, Tyler, against very powerful right-handed pitchers. And I'm talking about Stanton. I'm talking about Judge. I'm talking about Donaldson. On top of that, the bottom of their lineup, no bueno. I'm talking about Gallo. I'm talking about Hicks, right? On top of that, if you look at their last 10 games, their pitching rotation ERA is 5.24. Nasty Nestor has been struggling. We haven't been talking about him possibly winning the American League Cy Young in the last few weeks. And they're allowing 4 runs per game. They weren't doing that before. And don't forget, the American League East, if you're not paying attention, you've got the Red Sox, they're getting better. The Blue Jays are getting better. This is going to become a more competitive division the second half of the season than it was the first. So regression is my word for you, my friend.
I like it. I understand it, but I'm not sure I agree. My word is overdue in that the Yankees becoming the favorite was long overdue. I mean, we're, 70, 80 games into the season now, and they have proven almost since the beginning of April that they have been the best team in Major League Baseball. More so than the Dodgers, more so than anyone else in either league, the American or National League. The Yankees have been the best. They can hit. They're patient. They hit with power. They can pitch. They have a nasty bullpen, play good defense as well. This is long overdue. I'm surprised it took us until June, based on what the Yankees have shown us from game 1 to where we are right now, that they're finally the betting favorite to win the World Series. The Dodgers are still good, but they don't appear to be the wagon that we've seen in recent years. There is, if we want to nitpick, maybe a few little holes compared to what the Yankees have shown so far this season. So I say overdue that they are now the betting favorite. Just makes you want to find value elsewhere, though. All right, secondly, let's move to the NBA. It appears John Wall is going to join Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in LA with the Clippers. And the Clippers now are 7-1 to win the 2023 NBA championship. What's your good word for this wager, Anita?
It's a simple one. Pass for me, please. And listen, I hear what you're saying. John Wall, he's gonna head out west, the left coast, and join them, but we haven't seen him play basketball in over a year. Is he the same John Wall we sell, ball out in our nation's capital? Can't be sure. I understand Zubac agrees to a new deal. Covington gets an extension. Everything is looking, the stars are aligning really properly for the Clippers, but man, I'd rather put my hard-earned money elsewhere, like the Suns, like Memphis, who I think is going to come back next year ready to dominate, like the Warriors, looking to try to repeat, and don't sleep, of course, on the Lakers and LeBron James. right? And don't give up. I know that, Kyrie opted in. Everybody's reporting, okay, he's going to play with the Nets. But here in New York, there's still talk and speculation that he possibly could still be traded to the Lakers. So I just rather put my money elsewhere. I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ready to jump in, even as a LeBron fan, on the Lakers. But I am going to do exactly what you've told me at that price and pass because, my friend, this price right here is inflated. Fitting for what we're going through right now in this world. But 7-1 for a Clipper team that I know has Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. But what did they do with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard that would dictate earning this type of price compared to other teams in the Western Conference that you mentioned, like the Warriors, like the Grizzlies, like the Suns, who were the best team in the NBA regular season last year before flaming out in the postseason, the Mavericks as well, and that doesn't even account for the Eastern Conference teams like the Boston Celtics, like Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll see what we get with other teams like Philadelphia and Brooklyn, but this seems wildly inflated to me. Just because John Wall is there? I like John Wall as a player. I think he can be part of a winning team, but he hasn't really done that much in his NBA career. Only Kawhi has really been a champion on that team outside of Coach T. Lue when he was coaching Kyrie and LeBron in Cleveland. So inflated is the word for me. I'm going to pass like you encouraged there. Finally, to the National Football League. Anita, you can wager at 8-1 any of the 32 teams to go winless in the 2022 regular season, 0-17 at 8-1. What's your good word?
Parity. Because I feel that's what makes the NFL king. And of course, we're talking about two teams that very well likely could go 0-17 this season, and that's the Texans and the Falcons. But here's the thing: I think people are sleeping on Davis Mills. Granted, they didn't do anything to better his situation offensively with the Texans, but look at the division. I mean, chances are they could take one from the Jacksonville Jaguars. What's the other team? Atlanta? I think people are sleeping on Marcus Mariota. And again, another division that I feel outside of the Saints and of course outside of the Bucs could possibly take one from Carolina. And both these teams play the Bears, and Atlanta Falcons take on the Seattle Seahawks. So parity here, I would not play it.
Yeah, I get it. I'll use the other spelling of that word, different meaning, but parity, because my word is Falcons, because they seem to be a parody of a football team at this point. I know Marcus Mariota is there in Atlanta. I know, Arthur Smith had some good work that he did in Tennessee, but the Falcons, as currently constructed, seem like a parody of an actual NFL football team. They have Kyle Pitts, that's about it. A.J. Terrell on defense, that's about it. Maybe Drake London will be good. Maybe a draft pick or two will be good. But the Falcons, I think, will stumble into 1 or 2 wins. But it's possible Atlanta could go 0-17. They would be my pick. Maybe, again, 1 or 2 wins. But I love the under 5.5 wins for Atlanta. I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL this season. So I am rushing to bet that even at the juicy price. Atlanta is a team that is the biggest threat in my eyes to go 0-17. Wow! We're talking National Football League. Let's slide over to the NFC North for a little bit. We've been doing this here the last couple of weeks, taking a look at each division and going team by team with their Week 1 matchups and giving an initial lean here at the end of June. This is an NFC North matchup. Maybe the two best teams in the division matching up in Week 1 at Minnesota. Head coaching debut for Kevin O'Connell. The Packers, though, are a 1.5-point road favorite with Aaron Rodgers in town. Total of 48. How are you approaching this Week 1 NFC North tilt?
I have a small lean towards the Vikings. I might even think the Vikings win the division, Tyler, but I think the play here is the under. Why? No Devontae Adams, no MVS offensively for the Green Bay Packers. I think it's going to take them a minute to kind of gel, get themselves together. I think they're going to be really committed to the run. I love Dillon, A.J. Dillon this season, running behind, of course, Jones. And their defense arguably could be the best defense, if not top 3 defense in the NFL. You have talked about it at length. Meanwhile, for the Minnesota Vikings, their defense isn't too shabby either. And 5 of their first 6 draft picks this season were all defensive players. So they are locked and reloaded on the defensive side of the ball. So I think the play here is under 48.
Yeah, I'm with you on the under. I do like the Packers side, -1.5. It's under a field goal. I know it's on the road, and it's difficult to play there in Minneapolis. But like I said, and you have been listening, Anita, I appreciate that. I think this Packers team is going to be an absolute wagon in the regular season because they will run the football at will on you with Dillon and Jones. And that defense was already great last year. Then they added 2 studs from Georgia's defense that may have been one of the best in college football this season. So the formula I see for the Packers winning 12, 13, 14 games this regular season: dominant defense, dominant run game, break glass in case of emergency and you need it in the fourth quarter, and use your 4-time league MVP Aaron Rodgers to engineer a game-winning drive. I think it will be a low-scoring game, but I think the Packers win by at least 2 because it is Kevin O'Connell's, I should say, head coaching debut against Matt LaFleur. Big advantage on the sideline there as well. Let's move to another NFC North head coaching debut. Matt Eberflus will debut at Soldier Field for the Chicago Bears, welcoming the San Francisco 49ers to town. A tough matchup for Eberflus in his debut, as the Niners, with we presume Trey Lance under center, are a 6-point road favorite, total of 43. Side or total you like here?
Yeah, I like the under here as well, and I'm also leaning towards the Bears because everything we're hearing is that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get traded, and I'm hearing that Trey Lance is not ready to start in the NFL. So you've got 2 second-year quarterbacks, I think both very wet behind the ears. Neither of them, I think, really ready to excel and dominate in the NFL. So I'm going to lean Bears here, and I'll take the points, but also, again, I think the play is the under.
I think, the biggest Trey Lance believer of any of our friends here at ESPN. I'm not concerned about what I saw last year. I trust Kyle Shanahan. I trust the intangibles that Lance brings to the position, and, of course, the athleticism. I think Lance is going to be good in his sophomore campaign. I think Justin Fields is also a good quarterback. I just think his team stinks and they did little to help him. I think their defense is way worse without Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks. I think their offense is terrible outside of Darnell Mooney. The Niners have a great roster. On defense, they got Bosa, they got Warner. On offense, they got Debo, Eli Mitchell, and George Kittle. I think the environment for Trey Lance is ideal for him in his first true start as the starting QB to get a big win on the road against a Bears team that could be one of the 3 or 4 worst in all of the NFL. And again, massive head coaching advantage. Kyle Shanahan versus Eberflus in his first ever game as a head coach. I'll lay the 6 on the road, something I don't usually do, but in this spot, I think it's warranted. Finally, the Detroit Lions. Kind of everyone's darling a little bit after how frisky they were last season, but the Eagles are also getting a lot of love this season. Philly comes to Detroit in week 1 as a 4.5-point road favorite, total of 47. Anita, I think you're on Team Gang Green. Am I wrong here?
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Anyway, yes, I am all over this Eagles team this season. I've already put money down that they're going to win the Super Bowl. Their roster is sick. The addition of A.J. Brown is ridiculous to that offense. They've got a lot of depth running back situation. Top 5, maybe argue top 7 offensive line. Defense is stacked. They draft Jordan Davis to go alongside Fletcher. Bradbury leaves here in New York, goes a few miles south of Philadelphia. Forget about it. Lay the points, man. Eagles are going to roll week 1.
All right, the first 2 picks, I was on the road favorite. This time, I'll take the home dog. Give me the points on the scoreboard with the Lions, plus 4.5. As long as it stays above 4, I'll take Detroit in this scenario. I agree, I think the Eagles are going to be good. But, man, the Lions should be pretty frisky again in 2022. Last year, Anita, they were 6-2 ATS at home. All 8 of those games they played at home, they were the underdog, just like the scenario. I'm not yet ready to buy into Jalen Hurts being a covering machine in the NFL. He's got to first prove to me that he can win, and then I'll buy him covering. So, home dog, getting more than 4, a team that was really, really good in this spot last year, 6-2 ATS at home, all as an underdog. I'll take Detroit in this scenario with Dan Campbell biting some knees of those Eagles. I think that one is going to be the most fun game to watch of the three. They're even more so than the Green Bay, Minnesota one, because I think that one could turn into a shootout, and I think it could be a fun kind of back and forth game between a couple of teams trying to prove their legitimacy to the rest of the NFL. All right, we were kind of at odds there with that NFC North. I don't like that. Maybe we can get back on track on the fairways and greens. We have a PGA Tour stop at the John Deere Classic teeing off tomorrow. A very, very, very light field compared to what we have seen in recent weeks. You know the deal on par 3. You got 3 shots, 3 plays. Run through them right now, how you're going to bet the John Deere Classic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really hard to pick a winner this week because, as you said, because of the Live Tour has their second stop, there's really not a lot of big names. And so I think this is open to really anyone winning. But there are a few guys that I'm eyeing to finish in the top 5, top 10, top 20, and I think that's where we could win some money. So let's start with the top 5, and that's Patrick Rogers. He was supposed to play in the Travelers last week, but he pulled out to prepare for this tournament. The last 10 winners who won here on this track, top 30 in driving distance and driving accuracy, which you know it, Rogers fits into that category, and also top 35 in greens and regulation. Those are the 2 most important metrics, and he fits in that category as well. So I got Patrick Rogers, who has spent the last 2 weeks now preparing for this tournament to finish in the top 5. Top 20, give me Nick Hardy, tied for 14th at the U.S. Open. He was top 10 last week, so he's coming in. His game is on point. He's from Illinois, so this is his own backyard. And also top 15 in scoring on short courses. And by the way, this is one of the shortest courses on tour this season. And then top 40, give me Buckley. He finished he ranked 14th off the tee. Again, that's the combination of driving distance and driving accuracy, and 31st in greens and regulation. So again, he's got the metrics that I feel for him to finish in the top 40 without the big name guys that are playing this weekend. I think that's a solid wager.
All right, Anita, I like the plays there, especially your second shot, because my tee shot at the John Deere Classic, also a Nick Hardy wager. I'm going to try and really get an ROI for our investors here. First round leader, 45-1 for Nick Hardy. You like him, I like him. All the reasons you mentioned, plus this. Nick Hardy, his last 4 events, is averaging in the first round, his last 4 events, a score of 67. That'd be 4 under par. I believe it's a par 71. I'll double check that, but I think that could be a great way to start this event. 3 of those starts came on the PGA Tour, all rounds in the 60s, 67, 68, 69. The 4th one was a 64 on the Korn Ferry Tour. So he got from the Korn Ferry to the PGA, and he has been cooking. You mentioned playing golf at Illinois, had sponsors exemptions when he was there to play in this event. Very familiar with TPC Deere Run. So I like at 45-1 Nick Hardy to be your round 1 leader because he has been starting tournaments with a bang as of late. Okay, the John Deere Classic is synonymous over the last couple of decades with 2 names, Steve Stricker and Zach Johnson. Stricker, I think, had to bow out of this tournament, so I'm going to Zach Johnson to finish inside the top 40 at plus 130. Anita, he has played this event 18 times in his life. He's made the cut 17 of them. 17 of 18 made cuts for ZJ. I don't care what form he's in. He loves this course. We know he can play short courses. He can putt. He can hit those wedges. 6 top 3 finishes. 7 top 5 finishes in those 18 starts, was the winner in 2012. ZJ loves this course as much as any golfer loves any course in the world. Finally, again, I don't like picking a winner here because there's not any big names. Adam Hadwin, the Canadian, is the favorite, so I found a more lucrative way to invest in Hadwin. How about plus 135 just to be the top Canadian? There's not, a lot of competition out there, but outside of Svensson, I think is the next closest. So I think Hadwin, who is favored to win this tournament, does finish as the top Canadian inside that top 15, top 10 at plus 135. I like that more than 10-1 for Hadwin to win, which I need a bigger return on investment to find a winner there. So par 3 John Deere Classic, light field, but we still have 3 great shots on the betting board. Anita and Shohei, hang tight because I'm going to hop inside the octagon right now with our good friend here on Bet It Is MMA analyst Brett Okamoto, who is in town here in Las Vegas for a massive, huge UFC 276 card taking place down the street at T-Mobile Arena. Let's start with this. Max Holloway's trilogy fight with Alexander Volkanovski. Holloway is 0-2 in the first two bouts, but he did earn a split, or Volkanovski won, by just split decision in the second fight. That's why Holloway's installed as a plus 175 underdog in this scenario. So, Brett, what did Holloway learn between the first and second fight to make it closer for the judges on the scorecard, and what could he use to maybe spring the underdog upset?
Oh, man, I don't think he necessarily learned anything. That fight was so close. This is just one of those matchups, and you get this sometimes in combat sports, where these guys could fight 10 times, and literally every single one is going to be that close. They are just that competitively matched. I have Alex Volkanovski, I think, as my number 3 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I have Max as number 5. We're talking pound-for-pound of any division. These are just 2 of the top 5 fighters on the planet. So when I look at this fight, I think it's going to be close, which means I wouldn't want to take Volkanovski at those high of odds. You're never going to see Max Holloway at plus 175. At least you're not usually going to see him at plus 175. But it's difficult, man, because Volkanovski has had his number. So this is maybe one I would just stay away and maybe look at the over or the under on it.
All right, well, speaking of the fight, going the distance, if you expect it to be close, that's a decent ROI for the better at plus 120. Seems like you don't want to lay that wood with Volkanovski given his competition. How would you ultimately, if you decide to go to the wager window, bet this fight?
Yeah, I think I would bet for the fight to go to the distance just because both of these guys are they're durable. They're both smart. As I mentioned before, they're just 2 of the best fighters on the planet regardless of weight class. And when you have guys who are that talented, as much as they can put guys away, they're also just very good at defending themselves and getting through 25 minutes. So I look at it as a very competitive fight. If you want to bet the distance, if you're going to bet Volkanovski, again, don't take him at those high odds because Max Holloway is very, very good. These fights have been very close. If you're going to take Alex, I would say probably take him as a decision. That is, if you want to go with the defending champion.
Yeah, minus 190, I should say, to go the distance. Volkanovski by decision was the plus 120 wager. Just want to clarify that for the bettors. All right, let's move to one of the most exciting fighters in the game, Izzy Adesanya, who has not lost a fight at the middleweight division in 4 years. He's 11-0, facing Jared Cannonier in this bout at UFC 276. And I want to read this word for word as to what Izzy, who's never shy to hold his tongue, what he had to say about Cannonier. I've had bigger challenges. I'm not overlooking him, but at the same time, I'm not overestimating him. I just know what he brings to the table, and I really don't believe he has anything that he can do to match with me. Do you agree with those strong statements from Izzy Adesanya?
I know why Izzy would say that. Technically speaking, he is a little bit beyond Jared Cannonier, and that's not to say anything bad about Jared Cannonier. I mean, that's Israel Adesanya in this 185-pound weight class. He's never lost at this weight. His only loss was at 205 when he moved up and fought a much bigger man in Jan Blachowicz, and that fight was very close. I think that Izzy is also doing this as a little bit of a showmanship. He understands that he sells more pay-per-views. That's more money in his pocket. So to say, hey, I'm going to put on a show, I'm going to make this look easy, that might entice some people to go in and buy those fights. I do think he's coming into this fight very, very confident, though, because this is stylistically a fight that does favor him. Jared Cannonier needs to get on the inside. Izzy is so good at keeping guys on the outside and popping them as they come in. Does that mean I think that he's going to finish him? I don't know. I actually think a finish is going to be difficult. This is another one I might look to go the full distance, but you got to love the champion's confidence. He is never short on it, and that is the case once again here at UFC 276.
Yeah, despite the confidence, it's sometimes hard to lay that minus $4.50 in a UFC bout where anything can happen. Cannonier plus 350. Don't like betting against Izzy Adesanya, so ultimately, again, in a close bout, if you took it to the window, Brett, how would you wager it?
I think I would probably take Izzy by decision, or maybe you want to lay something small on Jared Cannonier. Look, the guy, one thing about him I can tell you is that he is a very, very talented finisher, and I do think that he is coming in with a lot of confidence. You know, Israel has kind of reached that point in his career where you start to wonder, hey, are his opponents kind of beaten before they get in there because they're beat up by the aura of this guy? I don't get that sense at all from Jared Cannonier. I talked to him today. He seems very thoughtful. He seems very just comfortable in this moment. So when you got a guy who mentally, he's a veteran, he is 38, which is getting up a little bit up there. I wish he was a little bit younger, but he's got experience, he's got confidence, and then he's got finishing ability, the power to knock you out in one shot. So maybe if you're feeling frisky, put a little on the underdog. If not, if you want to take Izzy, take him by decision.
Izzy by decision, an even money bet at plus 100 for those that would be interesting. Finally, We love to talk Sugar Sean O'Malley around here, one of the most exciting fighters that we have in the game right now, taking on Pedro Munoz at UFC 276. Both are strikers, though. O'Malley likes to strike from distance, while Munoz likes to get up in you like a bulldog and strike from close range. O'Malley, the big favorite here at minus $3 at the moment. Do you think Sugar Sean gets his 21st victory?
I do, yeah. Now, laying those odds is asking quite a bit because this is definitely a step up in competition for Sean. I mean, if there's actually been any criticism of this guy in his career, it's that he's fought guys who are not on his level. Well, Pedro Munoz is going to be on his level just in terms of what this guy has accomplished in the sport. He has been around the top 10 for many years now. Sean O'Malley has not fought an opponent like that. So to be laying minus 300 when you were just laying minus 300 with Sean O'Malley against those other guys who are not Pedro Munoz, I don't think that's a smart bet. Does he get the finish? I know he's going to be looking for it. Pedro Munoz has never been finished in his entire career. That is a feather that Sean O'Malley wants in his cap. I'm not sure if he's going to get it or not. I'm split right down the middle, but I think you got to pick one or the other. You got to take Sean O'Malley by decision. You got to take him by TKO to lower those odds just a little bit because the value is just not there. Which side do you take? It's a coin flip for me, man. I think that O'Malley's going to have some chances to put Pedro Munoz away, but he's a tough guy, man. He's been in there against the very best, and he's never been finished. So we'll see. We'll see on that one.
Brett Okamoto joining us live here on Bet as he and you get ready for UFC 276. Massive card taking place here in Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. Brett, we appreciate you dropping by. Enjoy the fights this weekend.
My pleasure, guys. See ya.
All right, Anita and Shohei back with us as we round out this Wednesday edition of Bet. And we are, Shohei, going to the Diamond because it's time for our Diamond Dollars play or plays of the week. So we have to do some accounting first and foremost before we get to Wednesday night slate. Last time we came to you with Diamond Dollars, yeah, Anita is like, do we really need to? Do we really need to? It was a rough one for Anita. She likes to go big. She likes to throw a lot of fastballs up there to see how many she can knock out of the park. But it was a rough go last time for Anita. Shane McClanahan, under 6.5 Ks. That didn't cash. Tigers and Red Sox under 9 wins. That one was a winner for her, but the Mike Trout bets, all pretty much losers. Braves, run line against San Francisco. Yikes. Austin Riley didn't help out there as well. So the Braves and the Angels really kind of doing you in there, Anita. Ultimately, you drop from $1.43 to $95 and some change. I had a little bit better luck thanks to Lance Lynn earning a victory at plus 213. So my $12 bet boosted us $37.56. But Shohei did not go deep, so I lost $5 there. I am, however, up to $152.56. Well in the black so far. All right. Wednesday, a travel day, some day games happening right now, just a slew of night games. What plays do you have for Diamond Dollars?
All right, buckle up. I know it's going to be a smorgasbord. All right, I'm starting $10. I'm putting down on the Blue Jays. First 5 on the run line. Why? Manoa's on the bump. Dude is 6'6", 270. He's been lights out. Limits hard hits, only 5% walk rate. And the Blue Jays, great against right-handed pitchers. That's who the Red Sox are going to put on the bump for them. So I got Blue Jays, again, first 5 on the run line. I'm also going to put $10 out on the Braves over 4.5 runs. Why? They've been knocking the cover off the ball, and Suarez is going to be on the bump for the Phillies. He's got a 4.23 ERA. It's like batting practice for these dudes. Atlanta's destroyed left-handed pitchers this season, and also they're second best in slugging percentage. I'm going to put $5 down on the Dodgers and Colorado on the over of 11.5 runs. Colorado has a knack of beating teams in their division, which is really surprising. So I'm going to stick to the over here. Colorado Marquez on the bump. He's 6.70 ERA at home. And the Rockies are good at home against left-handed pitchers as well. And then last but not least, I'm wearing the t-shirt because this is my best bet tonight. And this is Ohtani, over 6.5 strikeouts. As we know, the dude's been dealing. This is why you love him so much, right? He's 6-4 with a 2.90 ERA. Had 13 strikeouts his last outing, and he's definitely going to go over 6.5 tonight.
Yeah, I like Ohtani. Wagering $50, almost more than half of your bankroll there. I admire the gumption, Anita Marks. I just have 2 wagers for tonight. The first I really like, Marlins and Cardinals. Alternate total under 6.5 at plus 160. Sandy Alcantara NL Cy Young favorite, one of them on the bump. He's been awesome, and Andre Palante has been good for the Cardinals. Will go short, but the bullpen has thrown 10 1/3 scoreless the last few times out. And then Wilson Contreras against Hunter Green, plus 350 to go deep. Hunter Green's allowed more home runs than anyone in Major League Baseball this year at 20. There's the recap. Screenshot it because I don't have time to reread all of those, but hopefully we have some winners for the Diamond Dollars here on this Wednesday. Another great edition, baby, of Bet. She is Anita Marks. Big thanks to Brett Okamoto in town for UFC 276. I think we're off on Friday, so have a great weekend, holiday weekend, 4th of July.